Mga kababayan, isang nagbabagang balita ang ating tatalakayin ngayon. Gulantang ang buong mundo ng social media matapos kumalat ang balitang ang mga abogado ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte ay nasa International Criminal Court o ICC na. Ano nga ba ang kanilang pakay? Ito na ba ang simula ng matinding tapatan? Usap-usapan din ang naging reaksyon ng batikang journalist na si Pinky Webb. Ayon sa mga ulat, hindi umano makapaniwala si Pinky sa mga binitawang pahayag ni Atty. Kaufman tungkol sa estado ng mga kaso sa tindi ng mga detalye, tila napanganga ang marami sa mga impormasyong ngayon lang lumabas sa publiko. 0 oras 35 minuto negatibo 0:55. Sa gitna ng tensyon, hindi rin nakaligtas sa puna ang edad ni Iki. May mga nagtatanong, 80 years old na si Tatay Digong, mahina na nga ba? Pero ayon sa kanyang mga taga-suporta, ang pagpapadala ng mga dekalibreng abogado sa Iki ay patunay na hindi basta-basta susuko ang kampo ng dating Pangulo. Handa silang lumaban hanggang sa dulo. Matatanda ang naging mainit ang usapin sa dahil sa kampanya laban sa iligal na droga. Ngunit sa pagdating ng mga abogado ni AKP sa mismong korte sa Hague, tila nag-iba ang ihip ng hangin. Marami ang nagtatanong, ito na nga ba ang hudyat ng pagbagsak ng mga akusasyon laban sa kanya o may mas malalim pang revelasyon na dapat nating abangan? Talaga namang nakaka-excite ang mga susunod na kaganapan. Kayo, mga kababayan, ano ang tingin niyo sa pagpasok ng mga abogado ni Iki sa ICC? Naniniwala ba kayong matitibag nila ang mga kaso? E-comment ang inyong mga opinyon sa ibaba at huwag kalimutang mag-subscribe para sa susunod nating update.
Lagi niya nakakausap si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, nababasa niya pahayagan, nakikita niya ang tunay na sitwasyon ngayon ng ating bansa. Kaya nakita niya na yung ginawa ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, dapat lang mo talagang gawin dahil napakalala ng problema natin sa ipinagbabawal na droga. Sa nakalipas na 6 na taon bago pumasok itong si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte.
2 decades of murdering alleged criminals as mayor of Davao.
Huwag mo nang pagsalitain si Butuyan, ha?
It became clear to him that this political strategy could be leveraged for higher office.
So 1 oras kitang papakinggan magsalita? Ang towa. Ito, namnamin niyo ho mga kasinungalingan na ilalatag laban dito kay dating Pangulo Rodrigo Duterte, itong prosecutor nila dyan sa ICC.
And for more power, the presidency. And that is exactly what he did. During his campaign to be president, Mr. Duterte expressly promised many times that he would kill criminals if elected. He claimed that Davao was Exhibit A in why he should be elected.
Correct.
And he promised, he pledged, that if he won, he would expand the killings nationwide.
At nanalo siya. Bakit nanalo siya? Kasi napakalala ng problema sa illegal na droga. At noong panahon niya, talagang naramdaman ng sambayan ng Pilipino yung tunay na pagbabago. Gusto niyo ho muna magpatalastas muna ho tayo mga kababayan? Gusto niyo ho muna ng patalastas? Para kahit papaano hindi na ho tayo sasagot, hindi na tayo magsasalita sa mga kabalbalang sasabihin itong Prosecutor General dyan sa ICC. Laban dito kay dating Pangulo Rodrigo Duterte. Gusto niyo ho? O sige, patalastas muna tayo. Eto! Dami mong alam PH. Kanya ka. Eto! Pagsalitain natin itong si Kong BH dyan sa ICC. Eto, pakinggan natin. Kong BH. Game.
Mayor, former President Duterte.
Yan.
Nako, gustong-gusto ko kasi siya dahil totoo siya eh.
Oh, yan.
Sorry, can I
Go
elaborate?
ahead.
You know, when I was fighting the water, nobody was listening to me. I was not a Duterte. I did not vote for Duterte.
Okay.
Yan. Dilawan yan, dilawan.
Cory Aquino baby ako eh. Product ako ni Tita Cory.
Lenny.
So, nung iniimbestigahan ko yung tubig, I really submitted it to former President Noynoy Aquino. Pero no one was listening to me kasi nandun si Secretary Singson tsaka si Secretary Almendras. Parehong Manila Water, Manila diyan. So, naka-cordon ako. Hindi ako napapakinggan. When President Digong sat, I don't know him. I never knew. I just submitted all the investigation. And then I was given a chance to present to Secretary Panelo discuss ko lang isa-isa. And then, lagi lang ako nagpapadala. And then, siya lang yung only president who acted. And then, talagang sinabihan yung Manila Water in Maynila, ano kayo, nasisiraan ba kayo ng ulo? Ba't ko babayaran yung arbitration ruling sa Singapore?
I remember that.
Tapos
Yeah.
pinaluhod niya yung dalawa para tumino. Lahat ng sinasabi ko, nangyari. Public utility company na sila ngayon. Pinagtatawanan ako, Carlo, a decade bago na-solve to. It only took the president, Digo, para mapakinggan yung matagal ko ng investigasyon sa Twitter. Kaya, doon, makikita mo yung, kahit di kanya walang palakasan, facts lang. Tsaka yung, first time namin naramdaman na nakakatulong kami sa mga ospital na talagang, yung Malasakit Center was really something. And you know, nung pinapasa yung batas ng, itong free college tuition fee, ilang dekada namin pinapasa to sa Kongreso. At lagi sinasabi, walang pera, walang pera, walang pera.
Yan.
Pero nangyari nung panahon ni Digo.
Ako po,
Ginawa niya ng paraan, nagkapera.
yari.
Universal healthcare law is the same thing. Dahil ang tagal ko na, I've been in Congress since 2010. So makikita ko yung differential.
Alam mo,
for every
yung sinasabi ko
administration.
sa mga kaibigan ko na ano eh. Ako, I try to be, hindi naman neutral. So I have my own biases. But I have friends kasi who don't, kumbaga, support the former president. And I always tell them na if you spend time just analyzing
Yeah.
kung ano yung pinaglaban niya and what he stood for. And yes, he was not perfect.
Yeah, it's not perfect.
Far
Nobody
from
is.
it.
Yeah.
Far from it. But you can kinda understand kung bakit mahal talaga siya ng mga tao.
Political will at saka sa kanya bumaba, nag-trickle down ang pondo. Literally. We can feel it kasi we're legislators eh. We can feel it because nasa ground kami. At saka talagang makikita mo yung presyo ng drugs really increased during his time.
Prosecutor General, naririnig mo ba yan? Naiintindihan mo ba yung sinasabi nito si Ma'am BH?
Yung mga palagi kinukata ni Kong
Yung
Rock.
drugs, yung masamang drugs, hindi yung
Masamang
gamot.
drugs. Oh, I'm sorry. Yung
Masamang-
pinagbaban.
masamang-
Like kinukwento ni Congressman Robert sa akin before, sa Tawi-Tawi, 20 pesos lang ang shabu. So, nagka-frenzy lahat ng mga drivers niya, lahat, tapos nga ganyan. Itong panahon ni Digong, tumaas ng 1,000 plus shabu din, walang nabibili. Tapos OFWs, pag umikot ka, lahat sila, alam mo ba't sila Digong? Ito, perfect example. Meron ako nakausap sa Dubai, isang Filipino. Sabi niya, alam mo ma'am noon, nagpapadala ako ng pera, nananakaw yung pera kasi nagda-drugs yung pamangkin ko na nagbabantay sa nanay.
Oh, kaya pala.
Tapos nung naging si Digong, tumigil yung pamangkin ko. Kaya yung pera na iipon ng nanay ko. Ngayon, bumabalik na naman ng drugs. Pinalayas ko na dahil ng drugs ulit yung pamangkin ko. That's just one story. Yan ang
Prosecutor, naririnig mo ba sinasabi na yan ni Ma'am BH? Langya ka, o palibasa, hindi nyo, wala kayong alam sa kung ano mang tunay na nangyayari dito sa bansang Pilipinas. Puro kayo dakdak dyan sa ICC. Puro kayo mga kabalbalan, puro kayo mga aligasyon laban sa pinakamamahal naming presidente. Langya kayo.
story ng lahat. Kasi yung pera pinapadala ng OFWs, that's why they love the former president. Kasi napupunta sa droga.
Kaya yung dedication niya, no, kahit nandun siya sa Hague, ang dami pupunta talaga.
Kasi naramdaman nila yung perang pinadala nila, hindi na-aksaya ng pamilyang pinagpadala nila ng pera, hindi naubos sa drugs.
Yun hindi
Saka
nakikita
takot
ng marami.
talaga ang mga pulis noon.
Noon.
Ngayon,
Operative work.
I don't know, I mean, I'm just saying the difference. Ngayon, marami na namang snatcher, marami na namang nakuha. Nawala lahat yan nung panahon ni Digo. I mean,
Sa araw, munting na ako manakawan.
alam mo,
Grabe, no? Hoy, prosecutor, naririnig mo ba yun? Hindi ka pala nakakaintindi ng Tagalog. Englishin ko. Ang sabi nitong si Ma'am BH, shut up. Di rin magaling mag-English si PH eh. Sabi lang niya, waste of time. Yung ginagawa niya kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Ito na, pakinggan na natin, balik tayo sa ICC. Oh,
He
commercial lang yun.
won, and that is what he did. And as you will hear tomorrow from Mr. Jeremy and Ms. Croft, the murders skyrocketed in the months immediately after Mr. Duterte became president in June 2016. And that was no coincidence. That was him fulfilling his campaign pledge. As president, he murdered thousands using many of the same co-perpetrators and methods from his time as mayor of Davao. So he moved the method and some of the co-perpetrators to Manila in order to expand it, the crimes. The victims in this case ranged from powerful individuals to predominantly the poorest citizens of the Philippines. Now,
Ano ibig sabihin nun, attorney? Walang sinisino. Di ba? Walang sinisino. Mayaman, mahirap lahat. Magkasangkot sa droga, talagang may kalalagyan
why
kayo.
were the poor selected and victimized? Well, it was often because they were the most vulnerable. And they didn't have the families and the power to make police reports, and they were the most afraid. Mr. Duterte boasted about the killings that resulted in thousands of deaths at his order. And not once, at any time, has he shown any remorse.
Mga adik yun.
He
Ano ba?
promised
Anong remorse sinasabi nitong abogado na to? Eh doon sa mga biktima ng mga adik, meron kayong ipinapakitang remorse. Yung mga dorogista, mga pusher, mga tulak, meron pinakitang remorse. Doon sa ginawang gripo ang tagiliran para lang makuha yung kakarampot na pera sa pataka, meron pinakitang remorse. Ulo ka ha?
also, you will hear, to take responsibility, personal responsibility, for the killings, if need be. Well, that time has come. We are confident that if your honors confirm the charges in this case, that we will prevail and Mr. Duterte will be convicted at trial. We talk a little bit about what my friend, one of the things he said during his 30 minutes. In our presentation today, you will hear Mr. Duterte, in his own words, calling for killings, bragging about killings, and as I said, vowing to take responsibility for those killings, if necessary. And the defense, I have in my outline, may claim, but they already have, the defense claim that this is hyperbole, bluster, exaggeration, part of his blunt or direct strongman political speech, which had brought him political success in Davao and then nationwide.
Yan.
And the defense will also point your honors to many instances where Mr. Duterte and his allies tried to build a veneer, a kind of fig leaf of plausible deniability by sprinkling in references to the effect that the police should only shoot to kill in self-defense. Those references to self-defense appear throughout Mr. Duterte's speeches. They're all over the place. We don't run away from that. We don't shy away from that. That's part of our theory. So the defense will say, and again, they already have, that we've cherry-picked the statements we show you, but we have not. We acknowledge these many references to self-defense in Mr. Duterte's speeches. But the evidence which is in our pre-confirmation brief, and some of which will lead today, overwhelmingly shows that those references to self-defense and following the law and to due process are nothing but nonsense. Keep in mind, as mayor, he created a death squad. A leader who created
Ang tagal na iniimbestigan ni Leila de Lima yung death squad na yan, pero wala ho siyang napatunayan. Di ba? Wala hong nakitang death squad. Kaya nagtataka tayo sa kaya pinulot yung death squad na yan na ipipresenta nila kasi dapat mapatunayan lang may death squad. Meron silang ipipresenta na membro ng death squad. Di ba? Ay ngayon, kung yung mga tauhan ni Tatay Digong silang paparatangan na death squad na yung mga tauhan ni Tatay Digong hindi naman nila sinasabi na death squad sila, ay magkakaproblema tayo dyan.
creates, leads, arms, and funds a death squad is not interested in due process or following the law. Those empty utterances were simply Mr. Duterte, who's chosen not to be here today. Those were simply him acting as the former prosecutor trying to build in some semblance of a defense, preparing for the day, should it ever come, as it now has, that he would be held to account. It was to give his lawyer
Brad, politika yan, hindi para sa accountability doon sa mga naging nangyari sa admin. Hindi politika yan, Brad. Kahit ikaw, alam mo yan eh. Hindi ba kayo binibigyan ng bonus ng administrasyon ni Marcos Jr.? Wala ba kayong bonus? Hindi ba kayo pinupondohan ng administrasyon? Hindi ba kayo nakikipag-ugnayan sa ombudsman? Hindi, nagtatanong ako. Oo, kausapin niyo yung si Buto yan.
there's something to say. But look at it over here, where I said don't shoot except in self-defense. The reality
Oh.
is that Mr. Duterte's message was clear. And it was understood by the perpetrators, and it was followed. That message was, commit murder at my direction, and I will protect you, I will pay you, I will promote you.
Hindi totoo yan. Kasinungalingan, abogado ka pa naman, nagsisinungaling ka. Anong nangyari doon sa mga pulis na nakadisgrasya kay St. Kian de los Santos? Nakakulong. Wala na sa wala na, hindi na mga pulis. Karamihan ng mga pulis na umabuso nung panahon ni Tatay Digong, karamihan, hindi natin sinasabi lahat, karamihan natanggal sa serbisyo at nakakulong. Ngayong mga panahon na to, kaya lahat na sinasabi ng abogado nila, sinungaling kong abogado na to. Oh.
And that's what happened. And I'll say this as well, Your Honors. For purposes of this confirmation hearing, disregard every speech ever made by Mr. Duterte.
Hindi pwede.
Throw them all out.
Oh.
There is still ample evidence of
Oh.
substantial grounds based on the other evidence which we have put on our list of evidence.
Ilatag nyo.
And the evidence as a whole, when you weigh it together, will show that what my friend said is not correct. That Mr. Duterte intended for his subordinates to follow the law, and that he would
Kawawang Pilipino, di ba? Kawawang Pilipino, hindi mo natin dapat dinadanas ito. Di ba? Ang dating para tayong nagmukhang mga walang sinabi sa international community. Sinasabi natin na tayo malayang bansa. Alam niyo sino ba nagpupunta dyan sa ICC? Yung mga bansa na hindi na gumagana ang judicial system. Tayo, gumagana. Ano yan court of last resort. Pagka hindi gumagana ang korte sa bansa na kung saan miyembro dyan sa walang kwentang na yan, doon palang papasok sa eksena. Tayo mga kababayan. Di ba? Napakulong si Tebes, napakulong yung mga kung sino-sino pinaghahabol. Di ba? Itong si Attorney Harry Roque, yang si Bantag, di ba? Pinaghahabol nila. Oh, ibig sabihin gumagana ang ating justice system. Ngayon, ang bansang Pilipinas nagmukhang katawa-tawa sa buong mundo dahil sa ginawa ng bangag na presidente na to.
was interested, and that his speeches were simply bluster. I'll talk briefly now about the charges in the case. As the deputy prosecutor stated, we have 49 incidents totaling 76 murder victims and 2 victims of attempted murder.
31 victims daw, crimes against humanity, palakpakan. Anak ng toka. Marami pang nadisgrasya doon sa Ampatuan di ba? Marami pa nadisgrasya doon. Talaga doon, binaon na buhay, no? Di ba? Isang bus. Di ba? Maraming mga tao talaga nadisgrasya. Oh, kung ilalaban pa natin yung ginawa ng mga makakaliwang grupo sa loob ng ilang dekada sa ating bansa, yun talaga ang crimes against humanity dahil ang daming batang napaslang dahil sa walang kwentang ideology ang pinaglalaban nila. Kaya Tatay Digong, mga dorogista, tulak at mga siraulo ang mga nagurgur. Bakit siya ang nandyan? Dapat nandyan si Joma kung buhay lang. Dapat nandyan si Joma.
And of course, those are expanded upon in our pretrial brief, or PCB. Now, as my friends said in the LRV, While there are countless victims who've experienced harm as a result of Mr. Duterte's crimes, we have focused the charges in this case to these 49 incidents and these number of victims in order to ensure that this trial can be expeditious and that it can be efficient and that it won't go on for years and years. So these charged murders are emblematic. They're representative of Mr. Duterte's larger killing campaign. I was going to talk about the legal standard for today, but Your Honors explained it extremely clearly in the beginning of the introduction, so I won't go into it, other than to say, of course, the standard we have to meet is substantial grounds, which I'm confident we will. The only thing I would add is that this stage of the proceedings, in addition to not being a mini trial or a trial before a trial, it's also not the time for the chamber to in-depth determine the credibility of witnesses. That can only properly be addressed at trial by the trial chamber when the witnesses are called to testify before the judges and their evidence is properly tested. And there I would point, Your Honors, to the Said confirmation decision, 9 December 2021, at paragraph 39. We'll move on now. We could go to the next slide, James. I'll talk a little bit about Mr. Duterte's background. He was born on the 28th of March, 1945, and he prides himself, or portrays himself at least, as someone who understands the problems of the poor. But as my friend stated, he actually comes from a very privileged family. His father was a lawyer, a politician, even a provincial governor. And as a young man, Mr. Duterte became a lawyer. He went to law school, practiced as a prosecutor in Davao City for almost a decade, from 1977 to 1986, and you find that in our pre-confirmation brief at paragraph 2. While he was a prosecutor, excuse me, he taught criminal law and procedure to police officers in Davao City. And despite this privileged background, despite his deep familiarity with the law and criminal law, Mr. Duterte embraced criminality from the beginning of his...
Kasinungalingan. Hindi ho totoo ang sinasabi ng abogado na yan. Ano ho yan, ika nga malupit na kasinungalingan ang sinasabi niya na yan. Abogado si Tatay Digong. Nagpunta ho tayo ng Davao. Alam niyo ho ano sinasabi ng mga taxi driver? Maging si Digong pinapahanap niya yung mga gumugurgur doon sa mga drogista. Hindi niya rin alam kung sino yung mga yun. Hindi niya alam. Yun ang sinasabi sa akin. Alam niyo ba sir, ano yan totoo niyan, talagang mga tao sa Davao na tumatrabaho sa mga yan. Gusto kasi namin yung katahimigang idinulot ng pamamahala ni Mayor sa amin. Kaya pagka meron kami nakitang loko-loko sa kalye, kami na mismo dinidispensa. sabi nila, pagka meron kami nahuhuli, binibigyan naman namin ng pagkakataon. Kunyari, akyat bahay yan. Akyat bahay, di ba? Pag nahuli namin yan, sinasabi namin, huwag na kayong babalik dito pagka inulit nyo pa yan. Talagang mayayari kayo. Doon na lang kayo sa ibang lugar gumawa ng kalokohan. Ganun daw sila sa Davao. Ito, totoo to Pexman. Siyempre, nakipag-usap tayo doon, hindi bilang isang Duterte supporter, bilang isang pumapasya lamang sa Davao. Diba? Yun talaga naging pakay natin. Gusto nating malaman kung, di ba, yung inaakusagin dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte kung gaano katotoo. Nalaman-laman ho natin, yung mga tricycle driver at mga jeepney driver, pagka naabutan kayo ng mga yung gumawa kayo ng kalokohan, pisarado kayo. Ngayon si Tatay Digong, hinahanap niya, gusto niya rin parusahan yung mga gumagawa ng mga tumatrabaho sa mga drogista at hindi niya makita.
His career.
Nungaling ka, brad, ha?
It's just one example. As a prosecutor, the evidence shows He taught police officers to plant evidence. You
Wow.
can go to the next slide, please, James. I won't read the whole slide out, Your Honors. This is tab 57, PHL OTP 000-15506 R01. But this witness with direct knowledge stated, quote, "He's like planting of evidence. It is necessary," and the he is Duterte. He called it necessary evil. So they said that there are times in police work that you have to do the necessary evil for the sake of the common good, end quote. And I think you'll see, Your Honors, that that's a theme that runs through Mr. Duterte's career. He's willing to do whatever he considers the necessary evil, either for the common good or for his political advancement, or both. And Mr. Duterte confirmed years later, 2024, when being questioned under oath during a hearing in the Philippines House of Representatives, that planting evidence was his strategy as mayor. Now, at first he denied it in this hearing, but then he admitted to planting evidence in this exchange. If we can go to the next slide. This is tab 46.1, Your Honors. Chairperson, quote, so you really did plant evidence. Mr. Duterte's answer, well, that was part of the strategy as a mayor and as a leader of the law enforcement agency in the city, end quote. His privilege, his legal background makes this betrayal of the law and embrace of murder even more inexcusable. He knew, as a lawyer, as a former prosecutor, that his so-called crackdown on crime was a criminal attack on civilians of the Philippines. And overwhelmingly, the evidence shows, on poor civilians. The poorest of the poor were his victims. He knew
yan.
his
Kilala mo ba si Paruhinog? Kilala mo ba si Espinosa? Milyonaryo yung mga yon. Mayor pa nga yung iba. Yung mayor nga namin dito, nung nabanggit pangalan niya, di na siya nagpakita eh. Mga mai-influensyang individual yung mga nababanggit. Talagang natrabaho nung panahon yung Tatay Digong sa pagsinungaling to.
conduct
Kala ko si Butuyan lang sinungaling, pati itong isa na to sinungaling din pala.
at its core was criminal. And not only did Mr. Duterte clearly intend his criminality, he openly bragged about it. Right up until his arrest, and we'll get to that later, but right up until his arrest, he bragged about it. He thrives on a tough guy persona or image that he's tried to create for himself. My friend talked about him riding motorcycles. Well, one example I'll show you is from 2007 now, if we could play that, James. And I should say this is tab 18.
Ang tagal naman, nakakainip naman yung na yan. Ng presentasyon na yan ng
Police
prosecution.
never losing an election.
So, riding a Harley Davidson, shooting a semi-automatic pistol, this is the image he's trying to create from the beginning. He likes to pose with weapons. If we can go to the next one, James. This is tab 80. And here in this photo, which was published in a newspaper, you can see Mr. Duterte holding an assault rifle. And I'll just note that we also see in this photo, to the immediate left of the photo,
Ano yan yung larawan na yan, sigurado naman ililihis nila ang konteksto niya. Sabagay, yung
Ronald
trabaho ng
Bato de la
prosecution na yan.
Rosa. Bato is the nickname. And to Mr. Duterte's immediate right, Isidro La Peña. And we'll hear more about them later. Even days before he was arrested, 3 days before he was transferred to The Hague, this tough guy persona was on display again during a speech in Hong Kong. He brushed off the possibility of an ICC arrest warrant, and he referred to the ICC, quote, as motherfuckers who have been after him for a long time, end quote.
Talaga naman. Ano ba yung ICC na yan? Kundi mother-father.
This is him on March 9th, 2025, if you could play that, James. This is tab 136.
Sa totoo lang, baka ang balita ko may warrant daw ako pag... Hindi, totoo. Yung sa ICC or something, matagal na akong hinahabol ng mga
Palakpakan naman natin si Tatay Digong. Sa mga nakamiss kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte.